So for a bit of context before we get into this podcast, a few things have changed. So Reece actually came to our first ever official Funded Traders Club meet, which is an exclusive wealth creation mastermind in Dubai. He's quit his job, he's gone full time, and he's living that out now. So if you're someone who's an aspiring trader and you really want to make this a reality, pay attention to the small details that Reece covers. At 21 years old, this guy's mentality is on point, and there's a key reason why he's in this position. I'm excited to get into the episode, and I'm super proud of Reece.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Funded Traders podcast. Joined with me, another portfolio asset manager, Reece. Welcome to the podcast. Pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
You're very welcome. How was your journey in?
Yeah, got a bit wet. Walked here. Didn't know the quickest routes, just walked.
Still got the hair?
Still got the hair. Hair's maintained, no problem.
That's what we like to see. So you came in from, is it Hastings?
Yeah, Hastings.
Yeah.
Got the train to London Bridge and walked.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
How does it feel being a portfolio asset manager? Talk to us.
It feels fairly normal now. Even at the start, actually, it felt quite normal. When I done the last trade and I got it was like, because I've been affirming to myself that I was already a portfolio asset manager, it just felt like normal. It didn't feel.
You felt like you was already.
I just really didn't feel anything. I was like, okay, I was thinking next step straight away, which is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time.
So how much capital are you trading with now?
60k, just for you guys.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great achievement. Well, congratulations. This has been intentional.
Thank you so
How long
much.
have you been in Falcon as a whole?
I joined June 2022, so that's over a year now. Yeah, just over a year.
Yeah, well, you've grown tremendously. I remember at the meetup in the village.
Yeah, Maidstone.
Yeah. What a journey it's been since then. I remember you was just kind of wandering around.
I know. I was literally just in like 3 months. I remember going up to people like, "You're right, I'm Reece. You're right, I'm Reece." Right. But yeah, it was wicked.
How was that experience? Talk us through that. It's like now you've trained 60k portfolio asset manager. There's lots of people that are in the community that have been for 4 years and they've not succeeded yet. Like you can't put an exact timeline on when someone's going to make it per se. How was that for you? Did you have any expectations coming in thinking, right, I'll have to do this in a year, or did you go in with more of a longer term mindset? How was that for you?
I didn't really look at it like that. I remember joining, seeing Thanos and seeing Thanos do well, and it was like I think he passed his assessment from joining to passing assessment in like 10 months.
Yes, yeah.
And I remember looking at it and going, I could do that. Like, I remember having the beef as like, I can do that. I'm going to get that done, sort of thing.
Thank you very much, Thanos.
Cheers, Thanos, you legend. So yeah, I remember that. But then also remember coming to that Maidstone meetup and I was talking to people. I remember saying to you and Ib, because I got bought Rewired fairly early, and I was like, have I bought it early? Like,
yeah, I remember.
Do you remember?
Because
a lot of people didn't have it.
Yeah, you was a little bit shocked as to why have other people not made that commitment yet.
Yeah, completely.
That was in the early stages.
Yeah.
And now a lot of people have realised that I don't need to go through a whole bunch of pain to realise I could just fix it in the first place. So how was that for you? Like, what made that decision in your head early on to think, yeah, I'm going to commit to this as well? Because some people have commitment issues, right? They think that I can just figure this out, or I'll get to a point where I have to get it and then I'll get it.
I've always just been all in with anything I really do. So when I started trading a year before I joined Falcon with like another educational platform sort of thing. And I had $5,000 savings, and I put all of that $5,000 straight into a live account and just started straight away. And it was just like, that was my mentality, just all in.
Yeah.
And I made money the wrong way. I made up to about, I got my account to 18k, but I weren't risking 1% or none of that.
Right.
And I'd done that within about 2 months. I got that to there, and I was like, felt invincible.
I can imagine.
Yeah, literally felt invincible. And then literally took 2 days, lost all the way back down to $1,000. So I was like, oh no. But it's been my mentality from day one. I've always just been all in. I'm very like, I just commit. So when I saw Rewired on the dashboard, I was like, let me check this out. Had a look at it. I was like, no brainer. It was like £700 at the time. I just went, go for it, see what it's about. Bought it and loved it.
Well, you got it at a very good price.
Yeah, I got a very good price. It's now like 1,800. Isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And we're just going to consistently keep adding value to it. It's already extremely underpriced.
Extremely.
For the value that you get from it. But we need people to take action. Some people are not ready to do that. But I don't believe people need to go through an extreme amount of frustration and losing their account. Like, people will come to me and say, look, I love the idea of Rewired, but I just need to prioritize making money. And I always find that fascinating, that then what will happen is I'll get a message like maybe 2 months later or 3 months later. It's like, hey man, I just want to open up and I've lost $4,000 on funding assessments.
I know.
I'm thinking about getting rewired. I was like, why did you need to lose another 4K to invest 1,800, for example? There's going to be there for life, and you're going to need it. It's not like you don't need it. You either go down the road of you're going to learn from experience, and it might take you another 10 years to figure out all of the framework. And even if you happen to stumble on it in the right order, or you go through the program, it's already laid out for you. So what are you scared of? Are you scared of the investment? Well, then how are you thinking you're going to make 7 figures then? Are you scared about a couple of thousand? Like, people invest 20, 30,000 pounds into a setup of a new business and then go bust in a year. And you're sitting there thinking, I want to be a financial trader and I want to make 50 grand a month. But 1,800, not a chance. Can't afford to do that.
I think it's a degree of arrogance as well there, that they think they're not going to put the money to pay for a psychology program because they think, oh, I can just read a book. I can get the same thing from a book.
Of course.
However, they read the books and they don't apply what's in the books.
It's not practical.
It's not practical at all.
It's very different. How have you found going from probably reading some self-help books here and there, reading some psychological material versus the practical approach of Rewired?
Well, like the main book I've read is Think and Grow Rich, and I've read through that loads of times. And you read through it and you're like, that makes sense. You sort of think of things in your head, but you don't actually have any practical exercises to apply it. So then going through Rewired, the main thing for me was module 3, the conscious trader.
Interesting.
Where you get the awareness. And I was thinking about this on the train up, just thinking of a year ago, what I was like to now. The awareness, the level of awareness just changes absolutely everything, because even when I'm around people, I can it's almost like my shield. I was on the train and people were whining about the rain and being all negative. I'm like, I'm having a great day.
Yeah.
I'm having an absolute great day. I've been to the gym. It's like the weather doesn't affect me, and just having that level of awareness helps you protect yourself from everything else. So being able to apply that with exercises rather than it just being in a book and you go, that makes sense. That's the difference. You get to apply it, and then you've got it.
Because knowledge is everywhere. You can learn about knowledge, you can hear, it's very pleasing to your ear when you hear knowledge, like, that makes all sense. And then the next day goes, you're the same version of you. You can't produce anything.
Exactly.
And I can see a difference of that day of when, you was in the village saying, if I got this too early to where you are now, it's a huge, huge difference. Now you're trading 60K, you're one double away from 6 figures.
Yeah.
That must be a great feeling for you to keep composed at the same time as well.
That is the main thing. Because when I passed, just before I passed, Beyond Rewired came out. So I went through Beyond Rewired the first time. And you talk about how to stay humble and not when you're winning, that's when you got to be the most teachable.
Yes.
Keep your feet on the ground. I think that was really important when that came out for when I passed, because I had it fresh in my mind and I was like, I need to stay composed and to listen to what you say, what Ibi says, what Abdu says. And that really helped. And it's all it is, being composed and working towards the next step.
100%. And you've had some coaching from, is it Ibi?
Ibi, yeah.
Yeah, how have you found that of the one-to-one side of things? Because, some people, they come into Falcon and say, right, I want a coaching call from Abdu or Ibi straight away. And it's like very early on. How have you found that when you had the coaching calls, was it at the exact right time that you thought that you needed?
Yeah, I had my first coaching call in January with Ibi. And I remember before that, I was almost working up in my head to be more than it was. I was like, do I need a coaching call? What if they, I was making all these scenarios in my head. And then I got on a coach called Ibi, and he literally just made it so simple. It was like, look, this is what you're gonna do. Do this, do this, do this. And then after you've done that, we'll get another coach call and we'll assess from there. So I was like, okay. And it was just black and white as that. So I just knew for the next 3 months, all I've got to do is do this for the best of my ability. And then once I've done that, next stage. And then we jump on another coach call, next stage. And it's just that hand you need. Some people might not need it, but I felt I needed it. And it just made it easier, much more clearer in my head to where I'm going. And
that's the beauty of it is, so I'm glad that's what you said. Everyone learns differently. We have students, we've got someone just about to pass in about 3 days. You would have never heard of his name. And he just, a ghost.
Yeah, literally.
Right? And has never had a coaching call, never spoken to anyone, and just watches the content and just gets on with it. Like, everyone learns different. For me personally, I would have needed that. I invested into coaching very early on. That's just how I learn. Everyone is different, and to compare there isn't a magic formula. Have 7 coaching calls, you'll be successful. Be in FX Live and have a certain amount of webinars, then you'll be successful. It's like the resources are there. You can learn at whatever pace you desire. If you want live sessions, you have the ability to access it. If you want that one-to-one looking over your shoulder to assess where you're at, you can do it.
Completely.
But don't think that you need to copy every single other trader in the route that they've gone down to get to where they want to get to.
No, I completely agree. It's also good with like you're taking your trades, and you can, if you're not socialised with everyone, other people are more social in the community. I'm not. I want to get more sociable, but I'm fairly conservative, and you can easily make problems in your head with your trades, and you go, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? And all it takes is Ibby to come along and go, mate, you're doing fine, or just don't do that no more. This is why it's crap. Do this. You know what I mean? And it just takes something as simple as that, and then you're like, brilliant, clouds are clear.
Well, I have another question for you. Did you think that at the start of the year you'd be coming to Dubai?
Nope, no way. I remember on Monday Live, I think it was December, 2022 December. I remember sitting there and you was talking about all these things, and I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And everyone was like, yeah, Dubai. And I was like, do you know what? I'm not really that bothered if I don't go to Dubai. I'm more focused on just getting to the next stage and leveling up. I wasn't really,
wasn't fixated on
wasn't,
it.
I didn't really, I know it sounds a bit weird, but I didn't really care about it. And then it all aligned really weird because I passed, it was a meetup the day I passed. I know the trades, but I basically, the day I passed, you announced about Dubai. And it came up and I was like, it's a bit of a squeeze because I'm also going full time next week. So I've got my self-sufficiency number put aside. So I was like, it's a bit of a squeeze to do it. But then you put a voice message in Discord saying, look, this could be the thing that kicks you on for 2024. And I remember just sitting there in my van. I was like, yeah, go for it. And I just did. And then I was literally there. I literally was like, guys, I've got to take 10 minutes. When this comes out, I'm getting it. And I remember just sitting there. It was like when 1 o'clock, I was like, bang, 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 get it done.
I love that, honestly. But I think that's the part of your personality where you're all in.
Yeah.
And I think you obviously recognise that that's another one of those moments that makes sense. That it might be a bit of a squeeze, it might be a bit of a stretch, but what is the springboard effect that's going to come for an event like that? What's going to be the effect of the mastermind, of going to that wealth creation mastermind that is a catalyst for, even in a couple of years from now, to look back at that and think, okay, I could have saved that extra bit of money, but it doesn't make a damn bit of difference to where I'm at now because you'll be in a position of making 30, 40K a month. So what, you save 2 or 3K, that's not going to do anything. But being in that abundance-based mindset, sometimes you need those catalysts. It's a strange thing in life that the world is not as simple as just save money, stack money forever, and then that's it, and then you just incrementally improve. I'll give you an example. When I was working in the city, I had the Nissan Micra, and then I had enough money to buy the Audi. It's the first nice car that I've ever had in my life. And part of my own mind was talking me out of it, thinking, I'll just wait till I make a little bit more money, then I'll get the Audi. And I remember my mentor once said, he said, look, you're so attached to this money. And at that time, it was only like 4K deposit to access the car.
Right.
It's not like I was spending £40,000 that I've made into the asset itself, because the smart thing to do was to access it. It was like £300 a month. But to me then, that was a lot of money. I was very, very young to take on anything like that, going from a car that's worth $1,000 to that. That's a big change. A big jump. But he said, I remember him saying that sometimes you need a bit of a push to reset, to make that money again. That if you hold on to it, your wealth thermostat will be like, you're still the Nissan Micra mindset. You're still in that mode. Completely. And sometimes you just need a little bit of a push to let go of a little bit of money. It doesn't mean be reckless and just like spend all your money to go to zero to earn it back again. But sometimes you just need to push yourself out your comfort zone a bit to think, this is the next step for me. And it worked. It was completely. The very thing that pushed me on to go, right. And I replaced that money the next month.
Yeah, that's wicked.
So what took me so long to make, in 1 month I replaced it. And then it just went up and up and up. And it changed my whole paradigm. So for yourself, you could hold on to it. But by you making that decision, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the thing that catapults. And you may go for, I don't know, early next year in 2024, you might see late January, I'm 120.
Yeah.
And then just from the money you'll make then, you wouldn't even care about the money you spend in Dubai.
Wouldn't matter.
Do you see what I mean? So these things have a good way of working when you're level-headed and composed and you're in a position to do so, which is why I wanted to make sure anyone coming to the mastermind is a funded trader. It doesn't make sense to not be, because then I would say that's a really poor use of your money. Because you're almost coming to Dubai to get dopamine to feel good, but not achieve the reward of being disciplined to be successful yet. Where you're on your road to success and have achieved success. So it actually makes so much sense.
I'm so
excited for it?
Now that it's happening.
A couple of weeks away.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. But the other thing that made it more exciting is because I was planning on going full time, quit my job, and then the Dubai thing came out and I was like, do you know what? I don't want to be going to Dubai, having this amazing mastermind, having a great time, talking about goals, planning for 2024, and then coming back to my job and it just be back to normal with negative people again. I didn't want that. So I got myself in, it's tight, but I got myself in a position where I got a year's worth of expenses covered. So then I'm going to Dubai, but then I'm coming back and I'm full time, and I've got from after Dubai to the end of the year to go through new content and prepare myself for 2024, which I'm so excited for. I'm so excited for 2024.
That's epic. So what day were you going to go full time?
So my last day at work's on the 17th, and then we go out to Dubai, and then when I come back, I'll be free man.
Wow. So literally, basically the start of December. How does that feel? I know it's a little bit special when it's December because, I mean, I'm not sure if you're into Christmas that much or like the festive period,
Love
right?
it.
So what I think is a little bit extra special about that is that, listen, people are a little bit more jolly when it comes to the festive period. You know, the food, hopefully not too much Twiglets, stay away from those. But it's a great time for, I think, for you to be able to just actually process everything that's happened.
Yeah.
Like you can be in December going, right, I didn't even, not that you didn't expect to be there, but you weren't attached to whether you got there or not. And because you weren't attached, you got there. That's the funny thing about trading.
Yeah.
I said this to a couple of guys that I had some podcasts recently, which is you get into trading and you think about making money, and that's why you don't make it. Where if you get into trading thinking about freedom, you attract the behavior that gets you to freedom. Otherwise, you just chase it, and you've done that. That must be a great feeling for you.
Oh, it's a crazy feeling. I'm
so happy for you, mate. Seriously.
Thank you so much. I remember being at work on building sites, and just like being fairly negative and just being like, oh, I can't wait to leave. And then obviously, I can't get my words out. Perspective changed when I went through Rewired. How you got to think of your job as something that's helping you, getting an income coming in each month.
Getting paid to learn how to
trade. Getting paid to learn how to trade. I'm sitting in my van at lunchtimes, you know, watching content or looking at the charts. So it's helping me. But I just think the next, like you said about the next push you need, is you saying Be On Rewired about how doing that self-sufficiency exercise, you said about if you're going through your self-sufficiency number, there's sometimes it's either comfortable or too uncomfortable. There's a fine balance of it. And it's sometimes that's where you get the magic of that pushes you on to the next level. And I think that's the position I've put myself in where I'm comfortable enough to go full time, but I'm also uncomfortable enough where I need to get my ass in gear and work like I've never worked before.
Yes.
And that's what I'm really excited for, and especially going into December. I remember last December, I've never been around anyone who's gone, you go harder in December than ever. You're the first person who's ever said that. And I remember last December was like amazing because everyone was relaxing, chilling out, eating chocolates. And I was going to the gym all the time. I was just working my hardest. And when you see everyone else relaxing and you're working hard, it's just like a bit of magic in your mind.
You realise you're the difference. And how old are you now?
21.
21. Have you just turned 21 recently? Or you
turned 21 in May.
Mate, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
21 years old.
21.
That must be a big thing out of your comfort zone as well, to actually make the decision of, no, I'm going full time. Like this is my life now.
Completely.
How have you dealt with those emotions? Anyone around you question? Who knows?
A lot of people know. All the people won't know I'm trading, but I don't. Since I joined Falcon, I shut up about it. Before I was talking about it, and everyone was like gambler. Blah, blah. Then I shut up. I was like, I need to keep my mouth shut. These people are dream stealers.
Yeah.
Like, they're on completely different frequencies. Good people, but they just don't understand. I need to keep my mouth shut here. My parents know, they're happy for me. My girlfriend knows. I've got good people around me that are happy for me, but also some people are like, what's he doing? It's rubbish. He'll be back to work in 6 months sort of thing. But that fires me up. I'm like, you watch me go.
Yeah.
I won't be back to work, no problem.
That counter intention, you've got to be really careful with that.
Really careful.
Because people can wish a lot of negativity on you because they don't want you to succeed. That's why I overemphasize it in Falcon so much. It's not even a nice to have, it's a necessity.
Completely.
That 99% of the population are negative, miserable. And it's not always this weird, malicious negativity of like, I'm going to be negative today. It's just they're conditioned to be negative. Everything around them makes them feel negative about the weather or this. They've been conditioned to complain about nothing that is not even a problem. So then when you say something ambitious, that's difficult to to actually accept. And imagine as well, 21 years old. Imagine that you're saying that to someone on a building site that didn't have the same opportunities. Maybe them could be 40 years old. The day and age we're in now, there are more easier ways for, I mean, I say easier lightly, but more lucrative ways to make money. I mean, I'm not talking about dancing on TikTok, but but that didn't exist. These opportunities didn't exist for them. So you've got to understand that part of them probably feels a little bit of disappointment that they didn't have these same options to be able to do something online. They just literally had, you get up at 5 o'clock, you get in the van, you do your work, and that's it. So then they see you, young, getting on with it. Like, that's hard for some people to take.
Yeah.
And you just can't take those things personally.
Yeah, I think it's also, you got to take responsibility as well. If you take responsibility of everything, you can't get annoyed when someone says something to you that's like, oh, mate, that training is a load of like crap. You can't get upset about that because you told them about it. It was, you made the decision to go, blah, blah, blah. It's down to you. So when you take full responsibility of everything, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, you start talking about someone about trading and then you don't like their response.
Yeah.
It's your fault. Why are you talking to them?
Literally.
They fear what they don't understand.
Completely.
So they're never going to be passionate about it. So I think that's a hard skill for people to learn, because naturally when you do something well, or you're on the way to doing something well and you're excited, you just want to talk to people about it.
Yeah, it's all
and
in your mind.
if you work with people, you're not just going to sit there and just say nothing. So you naturally want to bring up conversation. Just like if you support a football team and someone else likes football, you would talk about it, right? But then when you don't get those responses and you realize, wow, the world is very close-minded, I actually need to just shut up, get on with it, produce results, and that's it. Like, if you go into the harsh reality is, no matter where you work, if you said, and you went in one day and was like, look, I'm really unwell, I can't work anymore, they're not going to go pay your mortgage for you, are they? They're going to be like, oh, it's really unfortunate, Reece. Hope you get better soon. That's it. So no one gives a fuck in the nicest way possible. So you just have to look after you. And where they don't care there, they don't care about your opinion. They don't care about what you're doing. They don't care whether you invest 10,000 and lose it. So you've just got to just stay focused on yourself and really audit the good people in your life. People are very quick to look at the bad people in their life because they can see them, but they fail to recognize the good people, and they don't spend enough time of appreciation to keep that circle as tight as possible. I think that's where people go wrong. Yeah,
I was going to say, I forgot what I was going to say now.
It'll come to you.
Oh yeah, that was it. So when it comes to like the people around you, you've got good people around you. If you be a bit selfish, this is what I found. You talk about setting boundaries.
Yes.
If you be selfish and set your boundaries and you put yourself first, you find out who the good people around you, because they support what you're doing. So your girlfriend's still around, your parents are like, yep, Reece, keep going. Oh, your auntie and uncle, they're not so keen. Oh, that friend, he's dipped off, that friend's still here. And you just find out who the good people are by putting yourself first. It's a weird way, but if you start putting yourself first and doing the things and going for what you want to do, the people that support you stick around, and the ones that don't, they fly off.
And you're getting the respect anyway. Right? People follow leaders. So you can spend time trying to please everyone, and then you'll lose them anyway.
Yeah.
So you may as well lead, right? You've got the leadership qualities, right? Especially for someone as yourself making those all-in decisions at such a young age. So you've got it. You just need to stay straight and narrow. Like, you know what you need to do. And people that support you, it doesn't mean be reckless, don't ever consider anyone. But at the end of the day, someone has to lead. And I think when you come from that perspective, I've realized that in my life as well, someone has to lead.
Yeah.
You can't have too many chefs in the kitchen.
No, completely.
And that's the same thing with your circle as well. People can have their opinions, you can take them on board, but you need to use your own discernment to go, this is what I'm doing. Maybe you're not comfortable with the risk, but I am. They may say to you, like, I think this is a bit of a, could wait another year. Don't worry about that. You've obviously assessed it, and you need to trust yourself enough to know that it's not just a knee-jerk reaction, like, I've thought this through as to how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to do. And this is going to be a very exciting next chapter for you.
Oh, I'm so excited. 2024 is going to be incredible for not just me, but everyone in Falcon. We're
Oh,
all
it's
going to
be
smash it.
so good. We've hit so many good milestones when it comes to the fund as well. We're just passing into some seriously big figures. We've got 100 million on the goal, right? That's going to take some time.
Yeah.
I don't care how long it takes, 10 years,
Happening
8
though.
years. Could even happen in 3 years. The beautiful thing is it compounds very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think 2024 will be a huge tell for that, because we've grown so much within this year, but there's lots of 60Ks, 40Ks, 120. People have got their own separate third-party funds as well. There's lots of people that might have 60K with us, but then also 200K there. Like, people are collectively building up their capital. But what's going to happen in 2024 is that you're going to have the 60Ks have now, like, to the half-year point, they've turned into 400. So you have because we have so many people getting funded.
Yeah.
I mean, this month alone has been huge. I said to Q4 what would happen. A crystal ball. Now you can believe in the crystal ball.
Everything you say just happens.
So it's really great to see. I just had a bit of an instinct about it that this would be a quarter, just statistically, where people are at, that would get a lot of people pass. And I think there's 2 or 3 people to announce in the next sort of 4 or 5 days.
Wicked.
It's just moving forward every single day. And I genuinely meant it when I don't have enough time to do the podcast. There's so many, but I love it. And I'll definitely be making sure that up at the time to do it. There's people from abroad as well. So I've got a couple to film in Sydney.
Really?
So they'll be remote that time, but I'm sure we're doing in person one of those. But it's just the way that the community is going right now is just electric.
Yeah, it's that collective energy. I especially noticed that when we done monk mode.
Yes.
That month was incredible for me. It's like you couldn't like identify. It was just the collective energy of everyone. You just knew everyone was doing it. It just kept you accountable. You was like,
That's the power.
I've got to do the reading. I've got to do the cold exposure. I've got to go to the gym. I've got to have a litre of water before this time. You know, you got it done, and it was a collective energy, and that's what the community is about.
And you realise the effects of that. So some people think it's fine. I could do it on my own. You know, I can be in my bedroom by yourself. You might be able to do it on your own, but you're literally missing out on it's almost hard to measure where it's only a feeling. Is that when you know that everyone's working hard, everyone's doing this, everyone is intentionally putting aside time to do ASR. Everyone's watching the content, and you realize that collective energy is a real thing. The same way you can walk into a room when someone's had an argument, and then you know the argument, you weren't even in there, but you can feel the energy. So energy is a real thing, whether you ignore it or not. So people will be like, oh, I don't believe in all of that, yet they'll come into a room and be like, what's going on? So you intuitively do understand energy, so people are just quite close-minded to it. Completely. However, you can tap into that and realize your state of mind, and you've done so much work on rewiring that, you will trust yourself to trade that capital. And when you're trading 240, 500, you'll realize that all of the work then, because I know you appreciate it now, but you will appreciate it so much more when you're trading that. When you've made, say, 30K for the month, and you've made an old year's salary, it's those moments that will kick in for you. And when you're relaxed about it as well, and you realize, I don't have a crazy desire to just go now spend 30K, you'll just realize, I've done it, on to the next, you know, put some money aside. That's now me offsetting my outgoings for another 12 months. And like, you think from that perspective, you then make it again, and you realize, I can start to increase my lifestyle, I can take care of people. If you do it in the right way, you'll keep it.
Oh, I can't wait.
That's the exciting thing about it.
I can't wait.
So what have you got planned from now until when we shoot off to Dubai? You packed yet?
I've not packed yet. I'm just finishing up my job. I got last week at work. So I just want to give it my all at work.
Do it well, yeah.
Do it well. Leave everyone happy. I'm going through why just before we go to Dubai. And yeah, just keep smashing it. Yeah. I found the last couple of months had a bit of a sloppy period. And then literally this week, I'm trying to build the trust back up myself. And the simple exercises that you have in your book, just daily goals, ticking them off each day, I didn't realise how effective it really is. Like on Monday when I got everything done, it was like the whole day was just, I remember getting home and like the sofa was still made, and I was like, I haven't even sat down. It's just full steam ahead, and you get so much confidence when you look at that bit of paper and it's all ticked off. So yeah, just full steam ahead, keep doing what I'm doing.
These are the tried and tested practices. That's why some of the advice I give, it might not sound crazy groundbreaking, but boy does it work.
Completely.
And it's just your ability to do it every day. Someone can do it for 40 days. Can you do it for 60? Can you do it for 200? Can you do it for 365? That's all it is.
Literally.
It's not the complexness of doing 5 things. It's, can you do 5 things every day, 365, with no excuses? And if you can't, then don't tell me you want results, because that is the most simple thing you could do, but you lack the discipline. That's what it teaches you. It teaches you discipline. Yeah. And of course, the clarity of, like you said, you've come back and you've had a busy day, but you've got things done, but you know the things you've done actually make a difference as well. It's not like you're just ticking off random things. I think that's the beauty of it as well.
Yeah, completely. It's like I think it's Napoleon Hill said that it's so simple, it'll just go over their head.
Yes.
And I've just found it is the simple little things that have such a big effect on everything else.
And that's why the population is not successful as a whole. That's why the people often ask, like, why does money fall into the hands of few instead of the plenty? Well, the plenty don't want to listen. Like, the answers are right in front of them. You say to someone, do some grounding, do some breath work, cold exposure will probably help with your anxiety. Be grateful, because the same part of your brain is where you have anxiety. So you can't be grateful and anxious at the same time. They're like, nah, I won't listen to that. So these are not complicated things. It's just, can you do it? Can you make it part of you? And I think that's the part people are struggling with, identity issues.
Yeah.
And as long as you work on that and you know who you want to be, you know the type of values that you want to stand for, you know the type of person that if you had a daughter or a son, you know, how would they want to look up to you, and how would you want them to look up to you? You know, when you start asking these questions, you realize, am I shaping myself to be that type of person? Where even if you're thinking about a circle that you want to build a strong inner circle, what value do I add to this circle? You know, when you start asking those questions, it really digs into every facet of your life, and then you're clear. Completely. And then you know who you want to be.
Completely. It's another thing that's helped for me is if you look back at what your family have done to get to where they've got to now, and then you're just going to not do nothing. It's just absolute disrespect to your family name and all the hard work they've done, and you're just going to play Xbox and do nothing. So whenever I'm struggling to do something, I'm like, I really don't want to get in the ice bath. I just think, you know, my nan struggled to get in this country. I just think of all the things that my family's gone through, and I'm like, I've got to do this. I've got to do it for them. I've got to do it for their name. So
it's a duty, isn't it? It's right.
Completely, it's your duty to do it.
Yeah, and that's why someone asked me on a podcast when I was in London yesterday. They just said, why? They was talking about pursuit of happiness a lot. And then my rebuttal to all of that was, why are we actually talking about happiness? Like, we're in so search of happiness. It's an unreliable metric.
Completely.
So unreliable to think about being happy. And that's all the topic was about. But the reality, my argument for that was that most of the things I've done in my life, I haven't always been happy. For example, I might be calling the ambulance, dealing with that, and then I'm filming something 5 minutes later, and I almost have to gamify it in my head. It's like, right, I've got to be composed when these things are designed to destroy me, but they didn't. And I use it as another tick. I was like, that would have destroyed someone, it didn't. That would have destroyed me, it didn't. And I just keep ticking it off. But they were obsessed, and I think the world is asking the wrong questions. They're like, how does people be happy? Why are they miserable? What if it's a pointless question? Because most people, and this is actually an individual that has done a lot of work with the homeless. So he's got loads of people doing great work, incredible person. And the question got thrown back was like, do you feel fulfilled? Yes. And then it was, are you happy all the time? He said, no. I was like, right, so you found the most fulfilling thing. You're getting people off the street, you're doing great work, and you are telling me you're still not happy. It's because it's not an important metric. It's duty. That person now feels a sense of responsibility. It's my duty to get these people off the street, which is amazing.
Completely.
But happiness doesn't even come into it, because it doesn't matter if he's happy every day. He's still getting up and doing the things to get those people off the street.
Yeah.
Which is commendable work, but happiness is not a factor.
No, you need the discipline. Just do it anyway. If he was happy, if I wanted to be happy all the time, I'd be on the sofa eating chocolate brownies. You know what I mean? But that's not going to get me to where I want to be. I've got to do the things.
What's in Steven Gerrard's top 10 goals?
Exactly.
That's where my happiness is.
Literally. So it's not like you say, it's not a metric to measure to push you on to what you want to do.
And for traders as well. And that's my kind of final thoughts to you, Reece, as to what would you give to the average trader, whether they're in Falcon, whether they're not. What would you say as someone who's young, who's making bold moves? You've absolutely smashed it. What would you say to them as advice of someone that might be thinking about, I wish I could be going to Dubai, or I wish I could have a funded account? From what you've done this year, is there any things that stand out that you think they should focus on?
Well, first thing, I wouldn't compare at all. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, because everyone's different. And I remember sitting about this time last year, watching Wasim's podcast, thinking, I remember saying to my girlfriend, I'm going to be on that podcast, sort of thing. But you're not holding yourself to a big enough standard, because everyone's different. And then the other thing I'd say is just listen. If you can listen well, it's so simple. Like we just said, it's the simplest things that have the biggest effect. If you just listen to what you say, what Ibby says, and just do exactly what you say, you can't go wrong. You've done it. You've been through the jungle. You know the way. Just listen, and everything will be okay. You guys are looking after us perfect.
There you go.
It's as simple as that.
Absolutely love it. Well, honestly, soak it all in. Congratulations again, becoming a portfolio asset manager. Honestly, really proud of you, mate. You absolutely smashed it.
Thank you for having me.
Now we move forward.
Brilliant.
A couple of weeks, we'll be in Dubai, signing off the year, but then still keeping our foot on the gas.
Oh, I can't wait. Thank you for having me. It's been
You're very
wicked.
welcome. Been a pleasure, mate.
Thank you.